How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about solo leveling because it is coming out in like 3 weeks now. I think like 17 days from today, which today's the 20th. It's just insane. I can't believe it's already here. It feels like just yesterday it got announced, and now we're like almost at the release date. And I'm sure that a lot of you have heard a whole lot of talk about solo leveling, but you don't like to read, so you've never read any manga and probably wouldn't dabble in manhwa either. So I thought it was only right if we go over a whole bunch of, what you need to know about solo leveling before watching it. So I figure I'll give a little briefing of what solo leveling is going to be about, and all the terms that you've kind of got to be aware of when you're watching solo leveling, or at least to have as a good introduction to the whole new thing of what manhwa is and what manhwa has. It's pretty simple, but I think a lot of people are just assuming that everybody's read the manhwa, and the people that haven't, like me before I got big into manga, manhwa, all that stuff, I wouldn't have had any idea. So here we go. Now, to start off, I'll give you a brief description of what solo leveling is. Now, solo leveling follows the story of a boy named Sungjin Woo, and he is known as the weakest E-rank hunter. So basically, every time he goes out to these dungeons, we'll get into exactly what dungeons are and all that stuff in a few here. Whenever he goes to dungeons, he's basically looked down upon. He's slightly stronger than the average human, so he's not really anything special, and he's had a lot of run-ins with death, but he's never died before. And one day he decides to go into this dungeon with a bunch of people, and it turns out to be a double dungeon where people get like mercilessly slaughtered if they don't follow the commandments. And from this dungeon and here on out, he does his best to become the strongest hunter and to one day rid the world of dungeons. That is like the closest summary I can give you without spoiling anything. So I've been talking about a manhwa and manga, but what is that? To put it bluntly, I don't like putting it like this, but it's basically a manga is a Japanese comic book. So if you're like American, think of like a comic book, but black and white, Japanese. Now, what is a manhwa and a manhwa? Manhwa is Korean, so it's like the Korean version of mangas or comic books. And a manhwa is a Chinese version of manga or comic books. So mangas are not colored, they're black and white. Manhwas are colored, and manhwas are colored as well. It's a lot to rack your brain around, but once you get it, it'll stick. So you have manga, Japanese, no color, black and white. Manhwa, Korean, color. Manhwa, Chinese, color. That's the summary. And the reason why I bring this up is because solo leveling is a manhwa, and we don't see manhwas get adapted a whole lot. They do get adapted, but they have been some horrendous adaptations. Like Taraga was pretty bad. You have God of High School, which was but Noblesse, which was terrible. Oh man, we've had very few manhwas and manhwas that have gotten adapted, and they've been very, very subpar. So solo leveling is somewhat paving the way for manhwas and manhwas to get adapted. Earth Magic Should Be Special is a manhwa, and that got adapted this season. I haven't really watched it that much because I wasn't a big fan of the manhwa. I've only read like 35 chapters out of like the 180 or something that it has. So I haven't really kept up with the anime, so I can't give you a good description on if it's any good or not. But based on the past, manhwas and manhwas have been very poorly adapted. So solo leveling is going to be like the one that introduces people to manhwas and manhwas. And on top of this, solo leveling is what's known as a system manhwa. So it's like a subsection of a manhwa where characters have what's known as a system in front of them. It can either be all characters or like the MC only has one. And a system is basically a display that appears in front of you that you can only see. Nobody else can see it. It's only you. In solo leveling, Sungjin Woo unlocks a system that kind of caters to necromancy abilities. So what does it mean to be a necromancer? It's not as simple as, reviving a guy and talking to a spirit and sending him on his way. In this manhwa, being that there are superpowers, when Sungjin Woo uses his necromancy ability, the person or thing that he uses it on becomes a shadow of its former self. So it's not like this person, like their body is just getting up and coming back. It's a shadow that comes out of them. His main goal when it comes to necromancy, as opposed to having a few strong fighters, he goes for the route of having an insanely large number to overpower your enemies with numbers. But as I stated, how do you have necromancy abilities? Why are there superpowers? Well, there's these things known as dungeons and gates that have overtook the world. Creatures from another world, such as monsters, ogres, stuff like that, giant worms, creepy things, okay? They have invaded Earth and they're basically slaughtering everybody because they want to like take over Earth. And they reside in these gates or dungeons for a set amount of time. And once that time period is over, they have the right of way to invade the world and, you know, do their thing. To combat this, Earthlings awaken their latent abilities such as necromancy or stealth abilities or swordsmanship abilities or light abilities. It's literally like every ability you can think of, somebody's unlocked. And from these abilities, people get divided from S class to E class, and Sung Jin Woo is the weakest E rank hunter that is barely stronger than an average human. Might I add, not everybody awakens, only select people awaken. So it's not like every single person has the ability to awaken. It is only like a certain amount of individuals. So it's not everybody in the world is walking around with superpowers, much like if you've watched My Hero Academia, not everybody has a quirk, only a select few do. But I believe that it is even smaller of a fraction in the solo leveling world as it is in My Hero Academia. And it is very rare to have an insanely strong power. So with all of that information, I believe that you are ready to get into solo leveling and you know, give it a watch when it comes out on January 6th. So if you are interested in the manhwa, I definitely recommend it. It's super good. Here, I'll show you here what it means to like have colored pages. See how these pages are colored, whereas in manga, all of this would be black and white. So personally, I like reading manhwa and manhwas a whole lot more for this fact because it's just I don't know, it's a whole lot more entertaining. And you'll see nowadays that some mangas are starting to, you know, move into the whole scene of coloring their pages because it just entices the audience a little more. It's a whole lot more work. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope that it helps you understand a little bit more about solo leveling and what is going to be coming out soon. I did my best to not spoil anything, so you should be a-okay when the new episode comes out. Now that you know what a manhwa is, what a system manhwa is, what it means to be a necromancer for Sung Jin Woo, what it means to have a dungeon and to be a hunter. If anybody's ready to watch solo leveling now, it's you, whether you've read the manhwa or not. So if you enjoyed this video and it helped you out a little bit, make sure to click the subscribe button, maybe leave a like, you know, join the Discord so you get notified when I post. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, sunrise, sunset, whatever time it is for you. I hope you have a great one because you deserve it. I love you all so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.